The golden sun rose over Rajagaya, casting light upon the forest grove where Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree. Disciples gathered in silence, their faces glowing with reverence as they awaited Buddha's teachings. Among them, I sat, troubled by emotions that had overwhelmed my mind and heart for days. I bowed before Buddha and began. Master, I am consumed by anger and sadness, unable to find peace within myself. Slowly, he began to speak. Doubt, he said, is a veil that obscures the brilliance of the truth awaiting beyond. Buddha said, emotions, my child, are transient like the wind that moves through the trees, impermanent and ever-changing in nature. He continued, to deal with your emotions, you must first learn to understand them deeply without judgment or resistance. Buddha explained, observe your emotions as you would watch clouds drifting across the sky, allowing them to pass without becoming attached. His voice was serene, soothing the restless turmoil within me as his teachings began to resonate in my heart. The Buddha stretched his hand toward a nearby lotus flower swaying in the breeze. Ananda, he said, observe this lotus. Buddha paused, then added, do not resist your emotions, for resistance only feeds their power, keeping you trapped within their grasp. He explained, instead, welcome them like visitors to your home, treating them with mindfulness and curiosity. Buddha said, do not identify with your emotions. You are not anger, not sadness. You are the observer behind them. His words struck a chord deep within me, and I realized the importance of separating myself from the emotions I felt. Buddha continued, emotions are like waves upon the ocean. They rise, they fall, and they eventually fade into the vastness of the sea. He added, you are not the waves. You are the ocean itself, infinite and boundless. But Master, I said, how can I find such resilience when my fears feel insurmountable and my strength diminishes? The Buddha smiled gently, as if he understood the turmoil within me, and his words felt like a balm to my soul. Fear, he said, is like a shadow that grows when the mind focuses on the darkness. Forgetting the presence of light, Buddha said, meditate upon your emotions with the same patience and care as you would observe the petals of a flower. He continued, through meditation, you cultivate equanimity, finding balance and peace within yourself, unaffected by the storms of emotion. Buddha paused to let his words sink in, his presence radiating tranquility that soothed the unrest within me. He said, remember that emotions are impermanent, like the bloom of a lotus that wilts with time, leaving only its essence behind. Buddha explained, the more you cling to emotions, the more they will entangle you. Let go of attachment, and peace will follow. He continued, acceptance and understanding are the paths to freedom, liberating you from the suffering caused by your emotions. Begin, he said, by accepting the storm as part of your journey, not as an obstacle but as a teacher. He pointed to the distant mountains, their peaks shrouded in mist, and spoke with a conviction that made his words feel eternal. Embrace them with courage and compassion, and their power over you will diminish. Buddha spoke of the Four Noble Truths, connecting the teachings to the inner struggles brought by emotions. He explained, the recognition of suffering and its cause applies to emotions. Understanding their nature leads to cessation of turmoil. Buddha said, follow the path of wisdom and mindfulness, knowing that emotions are transient guests, not permanent residents within your soul. Ask yourself, Ananda, is the root of your doubt reality, or is it the shadow of fear? Buddha inquired. Ananda lowered his head, reflecting deeply on the Buddha's question, seeking the strength to untangle his thoughts. He said, growth comes through understanding. Reflect upon your emotions and embrace their lessons as gifts along your journey. Buddha concluded, you are not alone in your struggle. Every being faces the storms of emotion. yet each can find peace. His voice carried the assurance of infinite understanding, easing the burden of isolation that emotions had brought me, as the morning sun climbed higher. Its warmth enveloped the grove, reflecting the light Buddha had brought into our hearts. Alone, they are light, insignificant, but together, they may feel insurmountable. Ananda's eyes reflected a flicker of insight at the metaphor. His teachings left me humbled and inspired, ready to embark on a journey of understanding and mindfulness. I sat in quiet contemplation as Buddha rose to leave, his footsteps silent as he walked through the grove. The mind creates stories, Buddha said, but truth lies in the stillness beyond. You may choose to be the river's current or its stillness, Buddha continued, for both are within you. Ananda listened intently, though the shadow of doubt within him resisted its dissolution entirely. Stillness is not the absence of movement, Buddha said, but the presence of clarity amidst uncertainty. I bowed deeply, my gratitude flowing like the river beside the grove. Unending and pure, the grove stood as a testament to the wisdom imparted. A sacred space where the seeds of understanding had been sown. The disciples followed his gesture, their hearts and minds absorbing the analogy with profound reverence. Buddha continued speaking. The sun shone warmly, casting light upon the serene faces of those seeking wisdom from the enlightened one. Among the disciples was Sona, troubled and restless, seeking guidance on the emotions that clouded his mind. Indeed, Buddha affirmed, doubt sways, but faith, when kindled, burns steadily. Ananda raised his head slowly, his heart touched by Buddha's words, though the shadow within him still loomed. Buddha said, emotions are like the river that flows endlessly. They arise and subside, yet they never stay the same. He continued, when obstacles arise, the river does not stop. It finds a way to flow around them naturally. Buddha explained, your emotions are not obstacles to be removed but currents to be understood and navigated with mindfulness. His voice carried wisdom, guiding Sona to view his emotions with a fresh perspective and an open heart. Buddha said, anger, sadness, and fear arise from causes and conditions, each with a root that can be traced and understood. He continued, to understand your emotions, you must look within and reflect upon the circumstances that give rise to them. Buddha paused, then added, the origin of anger lies in unmet expectations. It is born from desires unfulfilled and attachments unbroken. He explained, sadness often stems from loss, while fear arises from uncertainty and the unknown, all tied to impermanence. The wisdom in his voice offered reassurance to Ananda's trembling spirit. Through doubt, the heart is tested, its truth clarified, Buddha continued, and understanding strengthened when doubt transforms into knowledge. Buddha continued, when you see the roots of your emotions, you gain insight into their nature, and their power over you diminishes. He added, transformation begins with understanding. Anger transforms into patience, fear into courage, sadness into compassion. Thank you, Master, Ananda said, his voice steady yet reverent, as though he carried both gratitude and awe in his tone. Buddha's gaze softened further, his voice gentle. Remember, Ananda, doubt is a call to inquiry, not a condemnation of your path. Buddha explained, the practice of mindfulness reveals the impermanence of emotions, showing that they are not fixed but ever-changing. He continued, with patience and awareness, you will see that emotions are passing clouds, unable to obscure the light within. Buddha spoke of the Four Noble Truths, connecting them to the emotional struggles that Sona faced within himself. He said, suffering arises from clinging to emotions. Understanding their impermanence leads to liberation from their grip upon your soul. Buddha added, follow the Eightfold Path, cultivating mindfulness, right understanding, and wisdom. and you will navigate emotions with clarity and ease. His teachings brought a sense of hope and purpose to Sona, who felt empowered to face his inner struggles. Buddha continued, "The journey of understanding emotions is not one of suppression but of acceptance, observation, and reflection with mindfulness." He explained, "Like the river, you must find a way to flow around the boulders of resistance within yourself." The Sangha assembled in a semicircle, their robes glinting faintly under the gentle touch of sunlight. Ananda sat among them, his heart still restless, though the embers of understanding glimmered faintly within. Buddha surveyed his disciples with his calm, unwavering gaze, his presence anchoring them in the here and now. "Let us speak of a man," Buddha began, his voice resonating like the first note of a sacred hymn. The Sangha listened, their minds attuned to his every word, the world outside dissolving into stillness. "This man," Buddha said, "finds himself standing before a wide river." Sona felt gratitude swelling within him for the guidance Buddha had given, illuminating the way through the darkness of emotions. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting golden hues over the grove. As the day's teachings drew to a close, Buddha rose to leave, his steps gentle and quiet, and the disciples followed in reverent silence, carrying his words in their hearts. The grove stood as a sanctuary of wisdom, where emotions were not feared but understood, embraced, and transcended. "He fears the water, its depth unknown, its flow relentless," Buddha explained, his words weaving a vivid tapestry of imagery. "But his desire to cross burns stronger than his fear," he said, pausing to let the significance settle. The morning was cool, the sunlight filtering through the leaves as a sense of calm enveloped the serene gathering. I bowed before Buddha and said, "Master, I have sought to understand my emotions, yet peace still eludes me amidst their chaos." Ananda's brow furrowed in contemplation as he visualized the man's effort, his inner doubts momentarily forgotten. "The man sets out on his raft," Buddha said, his voice steady, braving the currents with courage born of necessity. He continued, "Like the lotus that blooms in muddy waters, you can find purity within the chaos of emotions." Buddha raised a single lotus flower, its petals pristine despite growing in the mud, and said, "Be like this lotus. Now, my disciples," Buddha said, his voice gently probing, "Does the man carry the raft on his back as he walks?" The question lingered in the air, its simplicity belying the depth of its significance. "No, Master," came the murmured response, a ripple of realization passing through the Sangha like a gentle wave. He continued, "Emotions are visitors that come and go. They do not define you or belong to you permanently," Buddha explained. "By understanding the impermanence of emotions, you free yourself from attachment to them and find serenity within yourself." His teachings resonated deeply, revealing the path to peace amid turmoil and the transient nature of emotional struggles. Buddha said, "Practice mindfulness in each moment, focusing on the present and letting go of the past and future distractions." He continued, "Peace arises not from the absence of emotions but from the ability to rise above their influence." Buddha spoke of equanimity, saying, "Balance your mind like a calm lake, unaffected by the ripples created by passing winds." He explained, "Cultivate inner stability by embracing emotions without resistance, allowing them to move through you without disturbance." Buddha added, "Peace is not a destination but a state of being, achieved through mindfulness, understanding, and acceptance." His teachings unfolded like the petals of wisdom, offering clarity to the confusion clouding my heart. Buddha said, "Do not fear emotions. Fear stems from ignorance. Embrace them with courage and compassion, and they lose their power over you." He continued, "Be the sky that holds the storm, vast and infinite, untouched by its passing." Buddha nodded, his expression one of deep empathy and understanding, and said, "Fear is the root from which doubt grows." The Sangha stirred softly, the gentle rustle of robes mingling with the quiet sounds of the natural world around them. "But fear is not permanent," Buddha continued, his voice reassuring. "Fear arises from the unknown, the unfamiliar," Buddha said, "but understanding transforms it, as the sun transforms night into day." Buddha said, "Through mindfulness, you find the strength to face emotions with calm and clarity, undisturbed by their fleeting nature." He added, "Acceptance is the key to peace, liberating you from the suffering caused by resistance to life's impermanence." "Ananda," Buddha said, his gaze direct yet kind, "faith is not the absence of doubt but the willingness to move forward." The Sangha absorbed the teaching in silence, their hearts resonating with the truth of the Master's words. The grove remained quiet as Buddha concluded his teachings, leaving us with the light of wisdom to guide our journeys. I felt gratitude swelling within me for the insights shared, illuminating the path to peace that lay ahead. "The strength of the raft lies not in its perfection," Buddha said. "It lies in the heart of the one who builds it, the intention guiding each act," Buddha continued. Ananda's chest rose and fell with a deep breath, the weight of his doubts loosening their grip with each passing moment. "Even an imperfect raft can carry you, if your heart believes in the crossing," Buddha said. The disciples sat together in meditative silence, the teachings of the Buddha settling within them like seeds awaiting growth. Ananda closed his eyes, a quiet determination growing within him, the image of a raft etched into his mind. The journey continued, illuminated by the wisdom imparted, and I felt the promise of serenity within the chaos of emotions. The grove stood as a sanctuary of peace, where the seeds of understanding had been sown, blossoming into inner harmony. The disciples gathered once more, their hearts carrying questions, hopes, and the lingering traces of doubt from days prior. Ananda sat among them, his gaze steady yet inward, contemplating the truths shared by the Master. With renewed determination, I embraced the journey ahead, knowing that the wisdom shared would guide me toward peace and enlightenment. Another day had passed, and the grove remained quiet, a testament to the teachings that had touched our hearts. The disciples inclined their heads, the weight of his words settling within them. Buddha's gaze rested on Ananda, who met it with quiet determination. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.